How's it going, guys? So we're going to go over the boost features of Zaptrick. If you don't have Zaptrick yet, go to zaptrick.com and you can sign up for free there. It's going to give you a few days free trial so you can kind of walk through it and get familiar with it. And I'll have a coupon set up, just request for it, or I might have it in the link below or some descriptions below. I just need to set it up on the back end. So for now, I just want you to see the back end. You've already seen the calendar portion, which is like later.com, hootsuite.com, but it's all built in, which is awesome. But really what I want to show you today are the boost features right here with the little rocket ship. So these features right here are what are going to basically automate your engagement with people that you've never interacted with before, but they fit your demographic and your customer avatar. So if you haven't done your customer avatar yet, pause this and go back. Set up all the proper questions and everything that is in the handout that I gave you, and make sure that you know exactly who you're trying to speak with and who they are following, who they are interacting with. Do your research, ask people in those circles, who do you follow, who do you like within this type of brand or within this industry. So once you know exactly who you're talking to and which either direct competition or indirect competition you're trying to target the following of, that's when you can actually use this tool properly. So if you see these features here, we got auto follow, we got auto unfollow, auto like, auto comment, view stories, send welcome DM. That sends as soon as somebody follows you for the first time. It sends you a, let's just say thank you for following us. Here's a little something to thank you for that, and it's a coupon for a free cookie or something. I don't recommend to have all of these on at the same time. Specifically the auto comment, I'm not a big fan of it, but if you want to use it, that's up to you, but it can get a little spammy. So that's where I kind of stay away from it. I prefer auto likes, follows, view stories, because that's more of something that is, you're not going to be too worried about engaging the wrong way with those features. Auto comment, you don't know what photo this system is going to comment on. You could set some parameters, but it's still kind of a toss-up, and it might get you into more headaches than you're willing to accept. So I have it there as an option. If you want to use it, that's up to you. Same with the welcome DM. I don't personally use it too much, but I know a lot of businesses that like to send a coupon first-time followers. Just follow us on Instagram. They have like a little sign on the front of their store. Follow us on Instagram and we'll send you a, whatever it is, free cookie. So I'm going to turn these features on real quick. Auto follow. I'm going to leave auto unfollow off for now. I'm going to keep auto like on and then a few stories on. So if I were just to kind of walk away from this, press save and walk away, then it's just going to interact with random people all throughout Instagram. And that is not the approach you want to do. So if you're being a little bit lazy, it's going to hurt you in the end. So be very careful. So what I want to show you is how you can only focus on those that fit your customer avatar. And let's just say competition, direct or indirect, like I said. So if you are a coffee shop, directly, who are you going to target, right? So I want to go after my competition's following. So I'm going to go after other coffee shops, local coffee shops, not nationwide coffee shops. Unless you're a nationwide brand, then you can go ahead and go after nationwide brands. But for the most part, people that are signing up for this are local business owners or local social media managers. So you want to focus on the very small niche of your city, and then the demographics within your city that only like specialty coffee or only like other real estate agents or, for example. So let's just say I'm going to use the coffee shop because that's what we're using throughout the channel or throughout this course. So you have the option of narrowing down by hashtags, places, and people. If you do places, that's going to make it a little broad. Even though it is within, let's just say Dallas, Texas or El Paso, Texas, it's still a pretty big demographic that you're going after. That's a little bit too wide. So if you're maybe like a city organization, yeah, you'll probably stick to just the whole city niche. But for the most part, it's probably smarter to go through hashtags. So let's just say I'm going to go through hashtags that are relevant to coffee lovers in El Paso. So I'm going to type in coffee El Paso. Let's see if anything pops up. We'll do that. I saw El Paso coffee come up. Here. El Paso coffee shop. You can just kind of go through the list. El Paso Coffee Meetup, and these are kind of small, so we'll try something else. Um, let's say EP Coffee, and this is where your expertise comes in. Also, your awareness of the surroundings in your city. So, like, let's say in El Paso, we use EP a lot, or if you're Albuquerque, you use ABQ because it's shorter and easier to just write out in a hashtag. So, let's say if I do EP coffee, let's see what comes up. And you can also do this in through Instagram. So if you go through Instagram and you go through all the hashtags, write them down and save them for later. Danny shows you how to find those hashtags in the previous video, so you can use that same strategy and just upload them to here, type them out, select them on the list. But what I want you to see is how to be very specific about who you target. I don't want to do coffee lovers, hashtag coffee lovers, because that's going to go after people internationally that could care less about my local coffee shop. So let's just say as an example, that's going to help you narrow down. It doesn't have to be coffee. Maybe it could be cocktails, like craft cocktails El Paso. And let's see what pops up there. Maybe EP cocktails. Insta cocktails, cocktails. Let's see what pops up. El Paso, Texas. El Paso Eats would be a good one. And that's a much bigger demographic that you're going after, but it's still a very specific group, the foodies in El Paso. Let's just skip to people. But I just want you to see the hashtag, how to do it properly, and not be so broad, because then it's going to cause more issues than you need. So let's just say local coffee shops in El Paso. I want to go after my competition. So let's just say like 210 Coffee Roasters would be one of them. I'm just going to list all the coffee shops in El Paso just to give you an example. Viejo Coffee. Hillside. And then the list goes on and on, right? So right now we've got a fairly decent list. You can make this even bigger and bigger if you like. Just make sure it stays within that niche. It has to stay within your very tight pocket of interests that your customers or potential customers are following and interacting with. So once you have this list kind of fine-tuned and ready to go, from there you're going to go through these portions. So you can actually control the speeds of how frequent you're following, how frequent you're liking, as far as how, let's just say how fast you want to be growing your account. So it goes from anywhere from auto to very slow and very fast. Auto is kind of the safe amount. I would recommend that. It's going to be in the medium settings for the most part. Just to give you an example of what I mean by all this auto stuff is I'm going to go through, let me turn these off for now. And then I'm going to save this for now. And I'm going to show you the settings on my end because I have the admin account for this. I'm going to show you the boost settings here. Oops, sorry. Okay, so in case you're wondering, when you see very slow to very fast, I just want to show you those numbers in the back end so that you know, okay, this is what comes with those settings. So on the follow side, very slow would be 5 requests an hour, which means 5 follows every hour, and it randomizes them in the hours so that it doesn't come off as very unnatural. So the whole thing about this system is it's meant to disperse all these actions and things very randomly and naturally, so that it feels, Instagram doesn't feel like, okay, what's up with this person following 40 people in like half a second? Because that's how you get flagged by these accounts or by Instagram, because it looks very unnatural and wrong. And that's where people take advantage of it. They get greedy. And like Gary Vaynerchuk says, marketers ruin everything. So this is just a tool that is a tactic. It's not the end all be all. It just helps, right? So on the very slow setting, it's 5. On the very highest setting, 35 an hour. I keep these numbers extremely low for a reason, so that you don't get flagged and I don't get blamed for it, or zaptrick doesn't get blamed for it. So I'm just trying to keep things very conservative, but still very effective, right? So on the following, at the lowest, 5, at the highest, 35. And it's in increments of about 5, 10, depending on the settings. You can see it here, 5, 10, 20, 30, 35. On the unfollow, it's going to unfollow at the lowest, 5, at the highest, 35 every hour. On the likes, at the lowest, 5, at the very highest, 35. And then auto comments, same, 5, 25. I try to keep these requests pretty consistent. The stories, I do go a little bit higher, mostly because you go through stories pretty easily. Like, I mean, you're always just a tap away, pressing the button, and it's easy to go through 100 stories in less than like an hour. But I keep it at a conservative amount. So the welcome DM, same thing. This is the one that you got to be careful on. I would probably recommend slow settings for this. Because DMs are one of those things that flag people the fastest because you're spamming them directly in their inbox. So that's just for you to know. So going back to the boost feature. Okay, going back to the boost feature, let's turn these on again. Auto follow, view stories, auto like. I'll go more in depth on auto unfollow before I set that on. But remember these. So we have your settings. You can have a lot more than I do. Hashtags and usernames. And then this is where I want you to set those settings. So for growth, one setting will keep it consistent throughout all of them. So very fast, just like the settings I showed you before, we'll adjust for all of the follow, likes, whatever it is. That's how you control those settings. What's nice is if you're, let's say, somebody that only wants to speak with businesses, then you can choose the option of I only want to speak to other businesses. So find those people that follow other coffee shops, find those people that follow other insurance, real estate agents, whatever it might be. Or you could do both and just interact with as many people as possible. But that's what I love about this system is you can be very specific. So let's say, for instance, with gender, these options are here for the reasons that your industry might be different to others. So I like to leave these on the defaults, but you could be a nail salon. You could be let's just say a sports retail store, whatever it is, where you only want to speak with males or you only want to speak with females. That's where you can start to narrow down these audiences and make sure that you're only speaking to those that matter to your demographic through your customer avatar. So really those settings are by default are fine. I like to ignore private accounts, so that it just makes things a little bit more smoother. You don't have to worry about requests and receiving the requests, whatever. It's just easiest this way. But you could also pause your actions for when you're asleep. So it is in military time. So let's just say 21, which would be what, like maybe 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I'm horrible at military time. And then I would end it at around 7 a.m. because that's usually when I wake up. And it continues the automation from there. So you can have all of these awesome automation features that makes your activity look a little bit more natural. On the follows, what you can do is every time you follow someone, you can automatically like 1 or 2 of their posts randomly. And then on the unfollow settings, this is where we want to be careful. So I only advise the unfollow setting if you have your full list of people that you do not want to unfollow. Some people don't care, especially if it's a business account. They're like, I don't care if I'm unfollowing everyone that I just followed. But if you're using, like, let's say your personal account, or if you think it's going to cause some drama, if you unfollow maybe a partner, or if you unfollow somebody that is beneficial to your business, your brand, whatever, then you definitely want to put them on this white list right here so that it does not, for whatever reason, unfollow them. That's why I leave the unfollow setting empty for now until you can create a full list of, like, let's say if you go to my account, there's this huge list of people that I do not want to unfollow because I'm either engaged with them constantly, I want to see what they're doing on a daily basis. It's just a way to kind of keep things controlled and not too chaotic, because I've done the mistake in the past where I just unfollow close friends of mine and then I follow them and it gets awkward and they're like, why did you unfollow me? Are you mad at me? It's like the MySpace days all over again. It's not good. So That's the feature. If you are going to use the unfollow, just make sure you have your full list of people you do not want to unfollow. Be very careful with this, but if you do, you could also be a little bit safer and only follow people that don't follow you back. Some people want to be more aggressive and just unfollow everyone at once, but it's not going to, okay, so it's not going to unfollow all 3,000 people that you follow, because that would trigger Instagram to shut down your account or pause your account. So it only does it after about whatever amount that you want. So let's say after your account follows 500 people, then it starts the unfollowing process, or 1,000 or 2,000, depending on how many followers you have. Just keep in mind the cap for the amount of people you can follow is about 7,500. 72 to 7,500 is the number that I always see. Don't even get close to 7,000. Just start unfollowing automatically after you reach, a couple thousand. And it just kind of weeds out the people that aren't interested in you, especially those that aren't following you back. So this blacklist right here would be competition. This could be people you just do not want your account to interact with for whatever reason. That could be personal, business related, whatever. If you're a coffee shop and you start liking some other coffee shop's work consistently, I don't know. That's up to you how you feel that looks, but it gives you the opportunity. I do also have a list that I'll have uploaded below. Just be very aware that this is a list of all the profanity words possible. So I found a few lists online and put them all together. And what this does is it goes through the people you're interacting with. If they have certain keywords in their profile or their posts, let's say XXX, think of any profanity word you can think of, it's going to avoid them altogether and just not interact with them. So like, let's say if you are a brand that's very kid friendly, you don't want your brand to be seen liking some strip club's account. You know what I mean? Like, this is where you want to be very careful about the automations, because they can get out of hand if you get sloppy with them and you don't you don't control them. So that's pretty much the last portion of it all. In the description, there's some extra notes that you might need and copy and paste material for the back end. But I just wanted you to really understand how this whole system works and the real power of Zaptrick and growing your account automatically, so that all you do is focus on your content, making a better brand, making better communication with those that do love your brand. And that portion is where I would rather your focus be altogether. So until the next video, I'll see you guys.